What is going on, painting company owners? Happy Wednesday. Brandon from Painter Marketing Pros here. So one of the things we saw early on when I was starting digital marketing was if you get a smaller company, a lot of leads. If you get a smaller painting company, a lot of leads, sometimes it doesn't go very well. And that's because too many leads can actually be a bad thing. If you're a smaller company or even smaller to medium-sized company and you don't have processes in place to kind of act like a larger company, you know, if you don't have those automations in place, if you don't have those automatic touch points to make up for the fact that you don't have a lot of employees dedicated to, for example, handling leads as soon as they come in, scheduling estimates, following up with estimates, you know, all those things, then a lot of leads end up falling through the cracks. And then you get into this idea that the leads are bad leads, right? But in reality, what's happening is you're not really totally respecting the lead, and you're not doing it on purpose. You know, you're doing it because you're short-staffed, essentially, relative to some of your competitors. And then you are not closing many of your leads, right? And you know, if you're not able to follow up immediately, if you're not able to get an estimate scheduled immediately, birds are loud today. If you're not able to follow up with that estimate, you know, after you conduct it, do you just let it sit there, or do you have a follow-up process in place that's non-obnoxious, but touching base, value add, maybe still adding a few things about your business? If you don't have that stuff in place and you don't have the people to do it for you, then of course you're not going to close as high a percentage of your leads. And ultimately what you can do, sort of a worst case scenario, is you can burn your name a little bit. You know, if a lead comes through and it takes them a day, 2 days to hear back from you, it's not really that good of a look, you know, especially if they come through during a business day. If they come through on a Sunday, it's a little more understandable, but you still kind of want to be above that. You know, if you can't conduct an estimate for several weeks, you know, or even a week, it's not a great look. You know, if you're booked out several months, well, then maybe, you know, buying leads or that form of advertising, maybe it doesn't even really make a ton of sense at that point. You know, at that point, you have to decide whether or not you want to grow, in which case I would encourage you to look into hiring more painters, or whether or not you kind of want to stay that size. You know, what do you want to do? In terms of if you are booked out, you know, for a while, you know, I know a lot of painting companies were in 2021. It's been kind of a wild year, but if you're booked out for a long time, don't just not market. If you have a marketing budget and you say, well, I don't want to spend it on leads, you know, because I can't fulfill it because I haven't been able to find painters and I'm booked out for you know, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And so a lot of these leads aren't going to want to wait 2 months to start. That makes sense. Invest it into your website, you know, invest it into SEO, because it's not always going to be that prevalent. You know, the work's not always going to be that prevalent, and website SEO, those are long-term strategies. So if you do have a marketing budget, use it intelligently when you don't need to actually buy the leads right then, so that you can be ahead of the game 6 months, 9 months, a year from now. But you can have too many painting leads if you're not equipped for it. It can burn your name. It can make your company look unprofessional, and it can be a bad scenario. So make sure you're not paying for painting leads. Make sure you're not paying for marketing that you're not equipped to handle. And it doesn't mean you don't pay for marketing. It means either you automate, you hire, or you maybe shift up the kind of marketing you're paying for and focus a little bit longer term. All right, happy Wednesday.